The text message came through at 11:47 p.m. on a Thursday. Three words that made my hand shake so badly I nearly dropped my phone into the bathwater. We sold it. That's how casually my family tried to steal 7 years of my life. But they made one critical mistake. They assumed I was still the daughter who stayed quiet, who always said yes, who never asked questions. They didn't know I'd started keeping records 2 years ago. They didn't know about the USB drive hidden in my desk drawer. And they definitely didn't know I'd been dating a real estate lawyer for the past 6 months. My name is Rebecca Chen, and I'm about to tell you how I went from doormat daughter to the woman who locked her own parents out of a house they thought they owned. It's late Thursday night in Portland, Oregon, and the rain is doing what it always does here, falling in sheets that blur the streetlights into watercolor smudges. I'm sitting in my bathtub in my tiny studio apartment, the one that smells perpetually like the Thai restaurant downstairs. The hot water has gone lukewarm, but I can't seem to move. I'm 29 years old and I work as a project coordinator for a sustainable architecture firm called Green Space Design. My job is to make sure complicated projects stay on schedule and under budget. I'm good at organizing other people's chaos. Shame I couldn't see my own family's chaos for what it was until tonight. My phone sits on the bath mat, screen still glowing with that message from my brother. Kyle. Three words that have turned my entire world inside out. We sold it. Not, we're thinking of selling. Not, we need to talk. Just past tense. Done. Finished. Decided without me. I read the message again, my vision blurring. The house in Laurelhurst, the beautiful 1920s craftsman with the deep front porch and the original hardwood floors. The house I've been pouring my salary into for 7 years. The house I saved from foreclosure. The house I rewired, replumbed, and practically rebuilt with my own 2 hands and every spare dollar I've ever earned. They sold it. My phone buzzes again. Another message from Kyle. Mom says you can get your stuff out this weekend. New owners take possession Monday. 5 days. They're giving me 5 days to clear out 7 years of my life. I feel something crack open inside my chest. It's not sadness. Not yet. It's something colder, sharper. It's the sound of a lock clicking shut, a door closing, a bridge burning. Before I can process what I'm feeling, my phone rings. The name on the screen says, Mom. My finger hovers over the decline button, but years of conditioning make me answer anyway. Rebecca. My mother's voice fills my ear, bright and breezy, like she's calling to chat about the weather. Did Kyle tell you the news? Isn't it wonderful? I can barely form words. Mom, what are you talking about? What house? What sale? The Laurelhurst house, darling. We've been so stressed about it. And then this amazing offer came through. Cash buyers. No inspection. Closing in 2 weeks. It's like a miracle. My whole body goes numb. The bathwater suddenly feels ice cold against my skin. Mom, I live there. I've been paying the mortgage for 7 years. Oh, Rebecca. Her voice shifts into that patient, slightly condescending tone I know so well. You don't live there anymore. You moved into that little apartment downtown a year ago, remember? The house has just been sitting there mostly empty. It didn't make sense to keep it. I moved downtown temporarily because the commute was killing me. All my furniture is still there. My savings account is empty because I've been paying for that house. Well, yes, you helped out, and we're very grateful. But sweetie, the house was never yours. It's been in the family for decades. Your grandmother left it to me and your father. You were just helping with expenses. Helping with expenses? 7 years of my life reduced to helping with expenses. Mom, I paid for the new roof. I paid for the electrical panel replacement. I paid for the foundation work. That's over $100,000. And it was very generous of you to help the family. Her voice is maddeningly calm. But let's be realistic, Rebecca. You're single. You work from a laptop most days. You don't need a big house. Kyle and Amanda, though, they're married now. They're thinking about starting a family. They need the money from the sale for their future. There it is. The truth underneath all the pleasant words. Kyle needs money, so they're selling the asset I've been preserving for 7 years. Kyle, who spent his 20s backpacking through Europe on mom and dad's credit cards. Kyle, who's never held a job for more than a year. Kyle, who married Amanda 6 months ago in a wedding that cost more than my annual salary. You can't sell a house I've been paying for, I say, and I hear my voice shaking. My name isn't on anything, but I have receipts. I have bank statements. Rebecca, please don't be dramatic. Mom's voice takes on a sharp edge. This is a family decision. Your father and I have decided this is what's best for everyone. The sale is final. The papers are signed. You have until Monday to get your belongings out. I'm sure you understand. She hangs up before I can respond. I sit in my cooling bath water, phone clutched in my hand, and I feel something shift inside me. It's not grief, though that will come later. It's not even anger, though that's building like a storm. It's clarity. Cold, hard, brutal clarity. They've been using me. For 7 years, they've been using me as their personal bank account, their free contractor, their safety net. And now that the asset I've been maintaining has value, they're cashing out and cutting me loose. I get out of the tub. Water drips onto the bath mat as I reach for my phone and open my voice memo app. My hands are shaking, but my mind is suddenly crystallinely clear. I start talking, recording everything. The phone call, the text messages, the 7 years of repairs and payments. I talk for 12 minutes straight, my voice getting steadier as I go. Then I scroll through my contacts and find a name I haven't called in 3 weeks, Marissa Cole. We've been dating casually for 6 months. She's brilliant, sharp-witted, and she happens to be a real estate attorney at one of Portland's most respected firms. We've kept things light, fun, no heavy conversations about feelings or futures. But right now, I don't need a girlfriend. I need a lawyer. She answers on the second ring. Rebecca? It's almost midnight. Are you okay? Marissa, I need your professional help. I know it's late, but... Stop. Her voice shifts instantly from sleepy to alert. If you need legal help, you need to tell me right now if this is a consultation, or if you're calling me as whatever we are. Consultation, I say immediately. This is business. I'll pay your full rate. Okay then. I hear rustling, like she's sitting up in bed. Tell me everything. This is Revenge Stories, a home for quiet courage and true endings. If you feel my words, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Help us build this community so we can bring more interesting and exciting stories for you from around the world. Your help is much appreciated. Your voice matters here. Your story matters too. So I tell her about the house, about 7 years of mortgage payments and repairs. I tell her about the late night text, the phone call from my mother, the 5-day deadline. I tell her about every dollar I've spent, every weekend I've sacrificed, Every promotion I've turned down because I couldn't relocate while I was anchored to that house. Marissa is silent for a long moment after I finish. Then she asks the only question that matters. Rebecca, whose name is actually on the deed? I don't know, I admit. I've never seen it. Mom always said it was complicated family trust stuff. She said I didn't need to worry about the legal details, that I was helping the family, and that's what mattered. Oh, Rebecca. Marissa's voice is gentle but firm. That's not how property law works. If your name isn't on the deed or the mortgage, you don't legally own the property. But she pauses, and I can hear her mind working. But if you can prove you've been making substantial financial contributions under the reasonable expectation of ownership, we might have a case for something called unjust enrichment or constructive trust. What does that mean? It means that if they let you believe you had an ownership stake while taking your money, a court might force them to compensate you. But I need to see documents, every receipt, every bank statement, every text message or email where they discuss the house with you. Everything? I have it all, I say, thinking of the USB drive in my desk drawer. 2 years ago, after my mother casually mentioned she was thinking about simplifying the estate, something made me start keeping copies of everything. Every Venmo payment, every contractor invoice, every bank transfer. I've been keeping records. Good. That's very good. Marissa's voice warms with something like approval. Listen to me carefully. Do not, under any circumstances, move your belongings out of that house. Do you still have a key? Yes. Then tomorrow morning, first thing, I want you to go to that house. I want you to take photographs of everything. Every room, every improvement you paid for, every piece of furniture, every appliance. Get serial numbers if you can. Document everything that proves you've been living there and maintaining the property. Can you do that? Yes, I say, and I feel something solidifying in my chest. It's not hope exactly. It's more like determination. Good. Then bring me everything you have, every document, every photo, every record. Meet me at my office tomorrow at 9 a.m. We're going to figure out exactly what your family has done and what we can do about it. Marissa, I can't afford. We'll work something out. She cuts me off. For now, just get me those documents. And Rebecca, don't talk to your family. Not until we've looked at everything. Can you do that? I can do that. After we hang up, I don't go to bed. I sit at my tiny desk in my studio apartment and I start printing. Every bank statement, every receipt, every email. The printer runs for an hour, spitting out page after page of evidence, evidence of 7 years of payments, evidence of the $28,000 I spent on the roof, evidence of the $43,000 for the foundation repairs, evidence of countless weekends spent sanding floors and painting walls and replacing fixtures. By 3 a.m., I have a stack of papers 6 inches thick. By 4 a.m., I've organized them into categories: mortgage payments, property taxes, insurance, major repairs, minor repairs, utilities, improvements. By 5 a.m., the sun is starting to rise over Portland, turning the rain-soaked streets silver, and I'm sitting on my floor surrounded by the documentary evidence of how thoroughly my family has been using me. I don't feel sad anymore. I don't even feel angry. I feel cold, clear, and absolutely certain about what comes next. At 7:30 a.m., I'm parked outside the Laurelhurst house. My house, I think bitterly, though apparently that was never actually true. It's a beautiful house. the kind that makes people slow down when they drive past. Craftsman style, built in 1924, with deep eaves and exposed rafters and a front porch that wraps around the corner. The front door is painted a warm terracotta that I chose myself 3 years ago. The gardens I planted are thriving, even in November. I let myself in with my key. The house smells like home, like the lavender sachets I keep in the linen closet and the lemon oil I use on the wood floors. Everything is exactly as I left it when I moved downtown a year ago. My couch, my dining table, my grandmother's china in the built-in hutch, my books on the shelves I installed myself. My life, abandoned in place because I thought I was just temporarily relocating for work convenience. I start taking photographs. Living room, the built-in bookshelves I restored, the original fireplace I had repointed, the light fixtures I installed. Kitchen, the appliances I bought when the old ones died, the tile backsplash I chose, the cabinet hardware I replaced. I photograph serial numbers. I photograph receipts I'd taped inside cabinet doors for warranty purposes. I photograph everything. In the basement, I find the circuit breaker panel. I photograph the label showing the electrical work I'd paid for, complete with the permit number and inspection sticker. In the bathroom, I photograph the new fixtures, the regrouted tile, the replaced vanity. I'm in the master bedroom, photographing the closet I'd built with my own hands, when I hear the front door open. "Rebecca?" It's my brother's voice, surprised and wary. "What are you doing here?" I walk out of the bedroom, camera still in hand. Kyle is standing in the hallway with Amanda, his wife. They both look uncomfortable, caught. "I'm documenting my property," I say calmly. "What are you doing here?" "Mom said you'd probably try something like this." Kyle crosses his arms defensively. "Look, I know you're upset, but this is business. The house is worth a lot of money, and Amanda and I need—" "Need what, Kyle? Need the money I spent keeping this place from falling down? Need the equity I built with 7 years of mortgage payments?" Amanda steps forward. She's always been the reasonable one, the peacemaker. "Rebecca, I'm sure we can work something out. Maybe Mom and Dad can give you a percentage of the sale price." "A percentage?" The word comes out sharp as glass. "I've put over $150,000 into this house, plus 7 years of mortgage payments. What percentage of that do you think is fair, Amanda?" They both go silent. Kyle's face flushes red. "You were living here. You should have been paying rent." "I was paying rent," I say quietly. "I was paying a mortgage. Your mortgage, apparently. The one on a house I thought I was buying into. The house Mom and Dad told me would be taken care of in the estate planning. The house I've been maintaining because I thought it was going to be mine. Well, it's not." Kyle's voice turns hard. "It never was. And legally, there's nothing you can do about it. Mom and Dad own it. They can sell it. You can get your furniture and leave, or we'll have it moved to storage and send you the bill." I look at my brother, at his expensive jacket and his new Timex watch, and his entitled, angry face. I look at Amanda, at her designer handbag and her uncomfortable expression, and I realize that Marissa was right. I can't talk to them. They're not going to suddenly develop consciences. They're not going to see what they've done is wrong. "I'll be out by Monday," I say, which is a lie. But I'm taking everything that's mine. Every stick of furniture, every appliance I paid for, every improvement I made, all of it. "Fine," Kyle says. "Just be out by Monday. The new owners take possession on Tuesday, and if your stuff is still here, it becomes their problem." I leave without another word. I drive straight to Marissa's office in the Pearl District. Her firm occupies the top 2 floors of a converted warehouse with industrial windows and polished concrete floors. The receptionist is expecting me and takes me straight back to Marissa's office. Marissa is dressed for battle in a charcoal suit and crimson blouse. Her dark hair is pulled back severely, and she's wearing her glasses instead of contacts, which I know means she's in full lawyer mode. She looks like someone you wouldn't want to face in a courtroom. "Tell me you got photos," she says by way of greeting. I hand her my camera. Over 300 photos. Every room, every improvement, serial numbers on appliances, permit stickers, everything. Perfect. She plugs the camera into her computer and starts scrolling through images. And the financial records? I hand her the USB drive and the printed documents. She doesn't speak for 10 minutes while she reviews everything, her expression growing darker with each page. Finally, she looks up at me. Her eyes are hard. "Rebecca, what your family has done is legally questionable and morally reprehensible. You have a case, a strong one, but I need to be very clear with you about what that means. Tell me, if we pursue this, it's going to get ugly. Your family will turn on you completely. Your mother will cry and play the victim. Your brother will be furious. They'll tell everyone you're greedy, ungrateful, tearing the family apart. Are you prepared for that?" I think about the cold, casual way my mother dismissed 7 years of my life. I think about Kyle's entitled rage. I think about the hundreds of weekends I spent working on that house while they lived their lives. I think about every promotion I turned down, every relationship that failed because I was too exhausted from playing contractor and ATM to my own family. "Yes," I say, "I'm prepared." Marissa nods slowly. "Then here's what we're going to do. First, we're going to pull the property deed and find out exactly whose name is on it. Second, we're going to file an emergency injunction to stop the sale. If we can show the court that you have a legitimate ownership claim based on unjust enrichment, we can freeze everything until it's resolved. Can we really stop the sale? If we move fast enough, yes. The buyers probably don't want to get involved in a family legal battle. Most likely they'll back out and wait for the dispute to be settled. But Rebecca," she pauses, making sure I'm listening, "this is going to take time. Months, maybe longer. It's going to be expensive, and there's no guarantee we'll win. But there's a chance? There's absolutely a chance. You have documentation that most people don't think to keep. You have proof of substantial financial contribution. You have evidence that you made these payments with the reasonable expectation of ownership interest. That matters. It matters a lot. Then let's do it," I say. Marissa pulls out a legal pad and starts making notes. "I'm going to need a statement from you. Everything you can remember about the financial arrangement. Every conversation where they discussed the house with you. Every promise they made. Every understanding you had about your ownership stake. Can you do that?" "I can do better than that." I pull out my phone and open my email. I've been forwarding myself copies of every email my mom sent about the house for the past 2 years, including one from 18 months ago where she thanks me for investing in the family's future and promises that my contribution won't be forgotten when it comes time to settle the estate. Marissa's eyes light up. That's excellent. That's very, very excellent. That establishes expectation of benefit. Do you have more emails like that?" "Dozens. Print them all. Bring them to me. We're building a case, Rebecca, and your mother just handed us the foundation." I spend the rest of Friday at Marissa's office, going through every document, every email, every text message. Marissa's paralegal joins us, a sharp woman named Keiko who takes notes and organizes everything into a massive binder with color-coded tabs. By 6 p.m., we have a timeline. By 8 p.m., we have a legal strategy. By 9 p.m., Marissa has drafted an emergency motion to file on Monday morning. We're asking the court to halt the sale pending resolution of your ownership claim, Marissa explains. We're going to show them the financial records, the emails from your mother, the evidence of substantial improvement to the property. We're going to make the case that you've been a de facto co-owner for 7 years, and that selling the property without compensating you constitutes unjust enrichment. What are the chances they'll grant it? Marissa considers this carefully. Honestly, 60-40 in our favor. Maybe 70-30 if we get a judge who's sympathetic to financial exploitation cases. The evidence is strong. Your documentation is exceptional. But property law is tricky, and family cases are always unpredictable. And if we lose the injunction, the sale goes through. But we can still sue for monetary damages. We can still make your family compensate you for your contributions. It just becomes a longer, messier process. I nod slowly. What do I do this weekend? Nothing. You do absolutely nothing. You don't go to the house. You don't call your family. You don't respond to messages. Let them think you've accepted defeat. Then Monday morning, we ambush them with the injunction. Your mother will go to the closing expecting to collect her check, and instead, she'll be served with legal papers. A small, cold smile touches my lips. That sounds perfect. The weekend is torture. I get 17 calls from my mother that I don't answer. I get a dozen texts from Kyle ranging from angry to threatening. Amanda sends me a long message about how I'm being selfish and destroying Kyle's chance at financial security. I respond to none of them. Instead, I sit in my tiny studio apartment and I write. I write everything down, everything I remember about the last 7 years, every conversation, every payment, every promise. I write about the night my father called me, his voice shaking, telling me they were going to lose the house if someone didn't help. I write about my mother's tears, her pleas, her promises that this would be temporary, that they just needed to get back on their feet. I write about turning down the job in Seattle that would have doubled my salary. I write about the relationship that ended because I was always too tired, too stressed, too broke from supporting my parents' house. I write about every weekend I spent working on that house instead of living my own life. By Sunday night, I have a 60-page document. It's part testimony, part therapy, part evidence. I send it to Marissa with a note. In case you need more ammunition. She responds immediately. This is devastating. Bring tissues to court. We're going to make the judge cry. Monday morning, I dress carefully. Professional, but not corporate. I wear a navy dress, simple flats, minimal jewelry. I want to look like someone responsible and trustworthy, not someone dramatic or money-hungry. Marissa has coached me on this. You're not the villain here, she said. You're the victim. You need to look like it. We arrive at the courthouse at 8:30 a.m. The emergency motion hearing is scheduled for 9 m. Marissa is carrying a leather briefcase that I know contains 3 copies of our complete evidence package, each over 200 pages long. At 8:45, my family arrives. My mother sees me first. Her face goes through a remarkable series of expressions: surprise, confusion, anger, fear. She grabs my father's arm and whispers something urgent. Kyle spots me next, and his face turns purple with rage. They're with their lawyer, a man in an expensive suit who looks confident and relaxed. He clearly thinks this is going to be quick and easy. He's about to have a very bad morning. The hearing is in front of Judge Patricia Morrison, a woman in her 60s with steel gray hair and the expression of someone who has seen every trick in the book. She looks at Marissa, then at the opposing counsel, then at the paperwork in front of her. "This is an emergency motion to halt a property sale," she says. Her voice is dry and professional. "Ms. Cole, you're representing the petitioner?" "Yes, Your Honor." Marissa stands. Rebecca Chen, the petitioner, has been the de facto owner of the property in question for 7 years. She has made substantial financial contributions totaling over $150,000, including mortgage payments, property taxes, and major structural improvements. The respondents, her parents, have allowed her to make these contributions under the reasonable expectation of ownership interest. Now, just days before a scheduled sale, they have attempted to exclude her entirely from the proceeds and have given her 5 days to vacate. "We're asking the court to halt the sale until Ms. Chen's ownership claim can be properly adjudicated." The opposing lawyer stands. "Your Honor, this is a simple matter of family disagreement. The property in question has been owned by the Chen family for decades. Ms. Rebecca Chen was simply helping her parents with expenses. She had no ownership interest, legal or otherwise. Her name appears nowhere on the deed, the mortgage, or any property documents. The sale is legitimate and should proceed as planned." "Ms. Cole?" Judge Morrison looks at Marissa. "Your response?" "Your Honor, I'd like to present Exhibit A through M." Marissa hands a thick binder to the bailiff, who delivers it to the judge. These documents show 7 years of regular mortgage payments, all from Ms. Chen's personal accounts. They show major repairs and improvements, all paid for by Ms. Chen. They show property tax payments, insurance payments, and utility payments, all from Ms. Chen. The judge is flipping through the binder, her expression growing more interested. "Furthermore," Marissa continues, "I direct Your Honor's attention to Exhibit F, a series of emails from Mrs. Diane Chen, the respondent, to Ms. Rebecca Chen. In these emails, Mrs. Chen explicitly thanks Ms. Rebecca Chen for investing in the family's future and promises that her contribution won't be forgotten. This establishes clear expectation of benefit." Judge Morrison is reading the emails now. Her eyebrows go up. The opposing lawyer shifts uncomfortably. "Your Honor, those emails are simply expressions of gratitude. They don't constitute a legal agreement." "They constitute evidence of understanding," Marissa counters. "Ms. Chen made substantial financial contributions based on the reasonable belief, fostered by her parents, that she had an ownership interest in the property. To allow the sale to proceed without compensating her would constitute unjust enrichment." Judge Morrison closes the binder. She looks at my parents, who are sitting behind their lawyer looking significantly less confident than they did 20 minutes ago. "Mr. and Mrs. Chen," she says, "is it true that your daughter has been making mortgage payments on this property for 7 years?" My father starts to speak, but my mother grabs his arm. Their lawyer stands. "Your Honor, my clients would prefer not to answer questions without proper preparation." "That's unfortunate," Judge Morrison says dryly, "because I have several questions. Starting with why you would accept over $100,000 from your daughter for improvements to a property you now claim she has no interest in." The opposing lawyer has no good answer for that. Judge Morrison makes a note on her legal pad. Then she looks up at all of us. "Here's what's going to happen. First, I'm granting the emergency injunction. The sale is halted pending full adjudication of Ms. Chen's claim. Second, I'm ordering mediation. All parties will attend. If mediation fails, we'll schedule a full hearing. But I'm strongly suggesting that everyone in this room take a very hard look at these financial records and think about what a jury would say about parents who accepted 7 years of financial support from their daughter and then tried to exclude her from the benefits. My mother makes a small choking sound. The injunction takes effect immediately. Judge Morrison continues. Mr. and Mrs. Chen, you will not sell, transfer, or encumber the property in any way until this matter is resolved. Ms. Chen, you will maintain the status quo. No one touches anything. Is that clear? We all nod. Good. You're dismissed. Mediation is scheduled for 2 weeks from today. I suggest you all use that time wisely. We file out of the courtroom. In the hallway, my mother tries to approach me, but Marissa steps between us smoothly. All communication goes through me, she says pleasantly. My card. She hands one to my parents' lawyer. Kyle looks like he wants to hit something. This is bullshit. She's stealing from us. Actually, Marissa says, her voice still pleasant but with an edge like a razor. Your parents stole from her. The documentation proves it. We'll see you at mediation. Have a nice day. We walk away, leaving my family standing in the courthouse hallway looking stunned. Outside in the gray Portland drizzle, I finally let myself feel it. Not triumph exactly, but something close. Something that feels like power, like control, like agency I've never had before. That went well, Marissa says. What happens now? Now? Now we prepare for mediation. We're going to sit down with your family and a professional mediator, and we're going to work out exactly how much they owe you. My guess? They'll try to lowball you. They'll offer you 20 or 30,000 maybe, and act like they're being generous. And if I say no, then we go to trial. And honestly, Rebecca? Marissa smiles, sharp and satisfied. I think we'd win. The mediation is scheduled for a Wednesday afternoon at a neutral office downtown. I spend the 2 weeks preparing, gathering even more documentation, practicing what I'll say. Marissa coaches me on staying calm, staying factual, not letting my mother's tears or Kyle's anger pull me off script. They're going to try every manipulation tactic they know, she warns me. Your mother will cry. Your father will look hurt. Kyle will be aggressive. They'll talk about family loyalty, about how you're destroying the family over money. You need to be ready for all of it. I'm ready, I say, and I mean it. The night before mediation, I get an unexpected visitor. There's a knock on my studio apartment door at 8 p.m. When I look through the peephole, I see Amanda, my brother's wife. I open the door cautiously. Amanda? Rebecca, please, can I come in? Just for a minute? I consider saying no, but curiosity wins. I let her in. She stands awkwardly in my tiny living space, looking around at my modest furniture, my one window, my life that's so much smaller than the one they were trying to take from me. Kyle doesn't know I'm here, she says immediately. He'd be furious, but I had to come. Rebecca, this whole thing, it's wrong. What they did to you is wrong. I don't say anything. I just wait. I didn't know. Amanda continues, her words tumbling out fast. I swear I didn't know the full extent of what you'd paid. Kyle told me you'd helped with some repairs, that you'd lived there for a while. He made it sound like you were just pitching in, like any family member would. I didn't know about the $150,000. I didn't know about the emails from your mom. I didn't know any of it until the judge read it all out in court. And now that you know, Amanda sits down on my couch without asking, her hands twisting together. I told Kyle we can't take that money. That house should be yours, or at least you should get everything you put into it. But your mom? She's convinced him that you're trying to steal their retirement, that you're being vindictive. She's good at that, isn't she? Making everything sound reasonable when she says it. She's had a lot of practice, I say quietly. Kyle wants to fight you in court. He says his lawyer told him you'll probably settle for $50,000 just to avoid the hassle. He's talking about using the sale money to buy a condo in the Pearl District, about how we deserve a nice place after all his hard work. Amanda laughs, but it's a bitter sound. His hard work. He's never worked hard a day in his life. His parents gave him everything, and now he wants to take what you've earned too. Why are you telling me this, Amanda? She looks at me directly for the first time. Because I grew up in a family like this too. I know what it's like to be the responsible one, the one who always has to sacrifice while everyone else takes. I got out. I went to therapy. I set boundaries. But Kyle, he's still stuck in it. He thinks the world owes him something because his parents told him he was special his whole life. That doesn't change what they're doing to me. I know, and that's why I'm here. Amanda pulls out her phone. Kyle has been texting with your mom, planning their strategy for mediation. I took screenshots. I thought you should see them before you go in there. She hands me her phone. I start scrolling and my stomach drops. The texts are from 3 days ago. Kyle to my mother. The lawyer says if we stand firm, Rebecca will cave. She can't afford a long court battle. My mother's response. She's always been soft. She'll take whatever we offer just to keep the peace. That's who she is. Kyle. What if she doesn't? What if she actually fights? Mom. Then we tell everyone she's had a mental breakdown. We tell them she's been unstable since she moved out, that we're worried about her. We make her look crazy. Who are people going to believe? The sweet parents or the daughter who's suing her own family? There's more. Plans to reach out to my employer, to tell them I'm experiencing family stress and might not be reliable. Plans to post on social media about how heartbroken they are that I'm choosing money over family. Plans to contact my friends, my extended family, anyone they can think of, to poison the well against me. They're going to destroy my reputation, I say quietly, handing the phone back. They're going to try, Amanda says, but now you know what's coming. You can prepare. Your lawyer can prepare. Rebecca, I'm not saying this makes up for anything, but I wanted you to know the truth. What they're doing is calculated. It's not grief or confusion or hurt feelings. It's strategy. They're treating you like an enemy to be defeated, not a daughter to be respected. After Amanda leaves, I forward the screenshots to Marissa with a note. My sister-in-law just handed us their entire game plan. Marissa calls me immediately. This is gold, Rebecca, pure gold. They're planning to defame you to force a settlement. That's not just unethical. It's potentially actionable. We can use this. How? We walk into mediation tomorrow, and if they try any of these tactics, we pull out the screenshots. We show them we know exactly what they're planning. We show them that we have evidence of their intent to harm your reputation. And then we make them understand that if they don't settle fairly, we're not just going to sue for the house. We're going to sue for defamation, emotional distress, and punitive damages. Can we actually do that? With these texts as evidence, absolutely. Rebecca, your family just made a critical mistake. They put their malicious intent in writing. Wednesday arrives gray and drizzling, typical Portland November weather. The mediation office is in a building downtown, all glass and steel and modern furniture. The mediator is a woman named Joan Bradbury, a retired judge with a reputation for being fair but firm. We arrive first, Marissa and I. We're shown into a conference room with a long table, windows overlooking the city, and a whiteboard on one wall. Marissa sets up her materials methodically, the binders of evidence, her legal pad, a folder I know contains the screenshots from Amanda. My family arrives 10 minutes late. My mother looks tired, older than I remember. My father won't meet my eyes. Kyle walks in like he owns the place, all swagger and expensive jacket. Their lawyer, a different one this time, apparently the first one dropped them after seeing the evidence, looks young and nervous. Joan Bradbury doesn't waste time. We're here today to try to reach a settlement agreement regarding the property at 2047 Laurelhurst Drive. Ms. Chen claims she has an ownership interest based on substantial financial contributions. Mr. and Mrs. Chen maintain the property is solely theirs. Let's see if we can find common ground. There is no common ground, Kyle says immediately. That house belongs to our parents. Rebecca was just helping out. She doesn't get to claim ownership after the fact. Mr. Chen, Joan says calmly, you're not the property owner. Your parents are. I'll ask you to let them speak for themselves. Kyle's face flushes, but he sits back. Joan looks at my parents. Mr. and Mrs. Chen, Ms. Cole has provided extensive documentation showing that your daughter paid for the mortgage, property taxes, insurance, and over $100,000 in improvements for 7 years. Is that accurate? My father clears his throat. He looks miserable. She helped us. We were going through a difficult time financially, and she offered to help. Did you ask her to pay for these things, or did she offer? There's a pause. My mother jumps in. She lived there. She should have been contributing. She was living in a one-bedroom apartment downtown for the last year, Marissa says smoothly. Yet she continued making payments on the Laurelhurst property. Why would she do that if she didn't believe she had an ownership interest? She was storing her things there, my mother says, for which you now want to charge her storage fees. Marissa's voice is pleasantly poisonous. Interesting approach. Joan makes a note. Let's look at the financial contributions. Ms. Cole, can you walk us through the numbers? Marissa opens her first binder. Ms. Chen paid the mortgage for 7 years. That's $168,000. She paid property taxes annually, totaling $35,000. She paid for a new roof, $28,000. Foundation repairs, $43,000. Electrical panel replacement, $12,000. Kitchen remodel, $18,000. And numerous smaller repairs and improvements totaling approximately $15,000. Grand total, $310,000. The number hangs in the air. Even I haven't seen it calculated quite that starkly before. $319,000. My entire 20s. Quantified. My mother gasps. That's not... You can't count the mortgage payments. She was living there. For 6 of those 7 years, yes, Marissa agrees. But even if we subtract a reasonable rent, let's say $1,500 per month for 6 years, that's $108,000. We're still looking at $201,000 in net contributions, money that went directly into maintaining and improving your property. We didn't ask her to spend all that money, Kyle says. Marissa pulls out a piece of paper. Actually, you did. This is an email from Mrs. Chen to Rebecca, dated April 2021. Rebecca, we desperately need your help with the roof. The leak is getting worse and we can't afford the repairs. Could you possibly help us out? We'd be so grateful. This house is your inheritance someday anyway. Your inheritance someday. That's a direct statement of expectation of ownership benefit. My mother's face goes pale. I was emotional. The roof was leaking. And when my client paid $28,000 to fix it, you let her believe that investment would someday benefit her. That's textbook unjust enrichment. Joan intervenes. Let's talk numbers. What would a fair settlement look like? Mr. and Mrs. Chen, what are you prepared to offer Ms. Chen? There's a whispered conference between my parents and their lawyer. Finally, my mother speaks. We'll give her $50,000. That's more than fair. The laugh escapes me before I can stop it. It's a short, sharp sound of disbelief. 50,000? I put in over 300,000. You lived there, Kyle snaps. That's worth something. Fine, Marissa says. Let's do the math. 6 years at $1,500 per month in rent value. That's $108,000. Subtract that from $319,000, and we're at $211,000. That's my client's net contribution. That's what you owe her. That's ridiculous, my mother says. We can't possibly pay that. Then you have 3 options, Marissa says, her voice hard now. Option 1. You give Ms. Chen full ownership of the property. She keeps the house she's paid for, and you walk away. Option 2. You sell the property and give Ms. Chen her $211,000 from the proceeds, plus half of any remaining profit since she's been maintaining and improving the asset. Option 3. We go to trial, and a jury decides. I promise you, a jury will not be sympathetic to parents who use their daughter as a personal ATM for 7 years. This is extortion, Kyle says, standing up. You can't just... Sit down, Mr. Chen, Joan says firmly. This is mediation, not a courtroom. Everyone will remain calm. Kyle sits, but he is vibrating with anger. Joan looks at my parents. I think Ms. Cole's assessment is reasonable. Ms. Chen has documentation of significant financial contribution. If this goes to trial, a judge will very likely find in her favor, possibly for even more than she's asking. You should consider her offer seriously. We need to discuss this privately, my mother's lawyer says. He looks like he knows he's on the losing side of this negotiation. Of course, Joan says. Take the smaller conference room. Take all the time you need. They file out. As my mother passes me, she stops. She looks at me with an expression I've never seen before. It's not anger or hurt. It's something close to fear. Rebecca, she says quietly, please, don't do this. Don't destroy the family over money. Before I can respond, Marissa steps between us. Mrs. Chen, you destroyed your relationship with your daughter when you decided to steal from her. All communication goes through me. My mother leaves. The door closes behind them. Marissa turns to me. How are you holding up? I'm okay, I say. And surprisingly, I am. I don't feel guilty. I don't feel conflicted. I feel clear and certain and right. They're gone for 45 minutes. When they come back, my mother looks like she's been crying. My father looks defeated. Kyle looks murderous. Their lawyer looks resigned. We have a counteroffer, the lawyer says. My clients will sell the property. Ms. Chen will receive $150,000 from the proceeds, which we believe is a fair compromise given... No, I say. The word comes out firm and clear. That's not a compromise. That's you offering me less than what I documented I spent. And nothing for 7 years of maintenance. Nothing for the equity I built. Nothing for the opportunities I gave up to save your house. Rebecca, please, my father says. His voice cracks. We're your parents. We're family. Can't we work something out that doesn't involve lawyers and courts? You involved lawyers when you tried to sell my house out from under me, I say. You involved courts when you forced me to file an injunction. I offered to be family for 7 years. I showed up. I paid up. I sacrificed my 20s for your financial security, and you repaid me by trying to steal everything I built. My mother is crying now. Real tears, not the manipulative kind I've seen before. We made mistakes. We didn't realize how much you'd contributed. We thought, you thought I'd be a pushover forever. I finish. You thought I'd accept whatever scraps you offered and be grateful. You were wrong. Kyle stands up. This is bullshit. Mom, Dad, let's go. We'll take our chances in court. Sit down, Kyle, my father says quietly. It's the firmest I've ever heard him speak to my brother. Just sit down. He turns to me. For the first time in this entire process, he looks at me directly. You're right, he says, about all of it. We used you. We took advantage of your generosity and your love. We told ourselves we were borrowing, that we'd make it right someday. But we knew. Deep down, we knew we were taking something that wasn't ours to take. Russell, my mother says, her voice sharp with warning. No, Diane. My father's voice is stronger now. No more. We've lost our daughter. We've lost her respect, her trust, her love. And we deserve it. We deserve all of it. He looks at their lawyer. Give her what she's asking for. All of it. Dad? Kyle starts. But my father cuts him off. This isn't your decision, Kyle. This is mine. It was always mine, and I made the wrong choice. I'm making the right one now, even if it's 7 years too late. There's a long silence. Then my mother speaks, her voice small and broken. What if we can't afford to give her that much? Then we sell the house and give her what she's owed, my father says. Or we mortgage it again and pay her out over time. But we pay her. We make this right. Their lawyer looks like he wants to argue, but he just sighs. I'll need to draw up the agreement. Ms. Cole, can you and your client wait while I prepare the documents? Of course, Marissa says. They leave again. This time, Marissa and I sit in silence. I feel strange, not triumphant, not relieved, just tired. 7 years of fighting, of hoping, of trying to be good enough, trying to earn my place in my own family. And it took lawyers and court orders and public humiliation to make them see what they'd done. Are you okay? Marissa asks gently. I don't know, I admit. I thought I'd feel different. I thought I'd feel vindicated. You feel sad, Marissa says. Because even though you won, you also lost. You lost the family you thought you had. That's worth grieving. I lost that family 7 years ago, I say. I just didn't know it yet. The lawyer comes back an hour later with a settlement agreement. It's 5 pages of legal language, but the important parts are clear. The property will be sold. Rebecca Chen will receive $211,000 from the proceeds, representing her documented net contributions. She will also receive 50% of any profit above the original purchase price, in recognition of her equity stake gained through improvements. The Chen family will pay all associated legal fees and court costs. In exchange, Rebecca Chen releases all future claims to the property and agrees to a mutual non-disparagement clause. Neither party will publicly discuss the matter. I read it twice. Then I look at my father. What about Kyle's condo in the Pearl District? My father's smile is sad. Kyle is going to have to earn his own condo. This is our debt to pay, not his windfall to spend. I sign the agreement. My parents sign. It's witnessed, Notarized, legally binding. As we're packing up to leave, my mother approaches me one last time. Marissa tenses, but I wave her off. Rebecca, my mother says. Her face is ravaged, mascara smudged, eyes red. I know you won't believe me, but I'm sorry. I'm truly, deeply sorry. I convinced myself we were doing what was best for the family, that you were fine, that you didn't need the money as much as Kyle and Amanda did. I told myself so many lies that I believed them. You're right, I say quietly. I don't believe you. Not because I think you're lying now, but because sorry doesn't fix 7 years. Sorry doesn't give me back my 20s. Sorry doesn't restore the same relationship we could have had if you'd just been honest with me. I know. She reaches out as if to touch my arm, then thinks better of it. For what it's worth, I'm proud of you. For standing up for yourself. For not letting us push you around anymore. I raised you to be strong even if I didn't like it when you finally showed me how strong you'd become. You didn't raise me to be strong, I say. You raised me to be obedient. I made myself strong in spite of you, not because of you. She flinches, but she doesn't argue. She just nods, turns, and walks away. Kyle doesn't say anything to me. He just glares as he passes, all his entitled fury packed into that one look. He wanted my money to fund his lifestyle, and I took that away. In his mind, I'm the villain of this story. I've accepted I'll always be the villain in his version. Amanda catches me at the elevator. Thank you, she whispers, for showing me who they really are. I'm leaving Kyle. The annulment papers will be filed next week. I'm sorry, I say, and I mean it. Don't be. You did me a favor. Better to find out now than after kids. After years of being drained dry the way they drained you. She squeezes my hand. Be strong, Rebecca. You deserve everything you fought for. The property sells 6 weeks later for $740,000. After the mortgage payoff and closing costs, the net proceeds are $380,000. I receive my $211,000. The remaining $169,000 goes to my parents, minus the legal fees they agreed to pay. The money hits my account on a Wednesday morning in early January. I sit at my tiny desk in my studio apartment and I stare at the number on my screen, $211,000. It's more money than I've ever had in my life. It's also less than I gave them, because no amount of money can compensate for 7 years of being used, being manipulated, being treated like a resource instead of a daughter. I don't feel rich. I feel free. Marissa takes me to dinner that night to celebrate. We go to a small Italian place in the Pearl District, the kind with red tablecloths and candles and wine bottles lining the walls. What are you going to do with the money? She asks over pasta. I don't know yet, I admit. Part of me wants to buy a place of my own. A condo, maybe. Something that's actually mine, legally mine, no strings attached. And the other part? The other part wants to travel. I haven't taken a vacation in 7 years. I haven't seen the world. I haven't lived. I twist pasta around my fork. I turn down jobs, relationships, experiences. I put my entire life on hold for a family that saw me as a bank account. You can do both, Marissa says gently. You can buy a modest place and travel. You can build a life that's yours, on your terms. Is that what you did? I ask. After your family drama? Marissa has hinted at her own difficult past, but we've never discussed it in detail. She takes a sip of wine, considering. My family disowned me when I came out in college, told me I was going to hell, that I was choosing sin over family. I paid for law school with scholarships and debt, and sheer stubborn determination. I built a life they said I didn't deserve to have. And you know what? It's a fucking great life. better than anything they could have given me, because it's mine. I earned every piece of it. Do you ever talk to them? No. They made their choice. I made mine. I don't regret it. She reaches across the table and takes my hand. You're going to be okay, Rebecca. Better than okay. You're going to be great. 3 months later, I buy a one-bedroom condo in the Beaumont neighborhood. It's small, but perfect. Hardwood floors, lots of light, a tiny balcony with a view of Mount Hood on clear days. It's mine. Just mine. My name on the deed, my mortgage, my responsibility, my reward. I fill it with things I actually like. No more furniture from my parents' cast-offs. No more decorating to please anyone but myself. I buy a ridiculous expensive couch in teal velvet because I've always wanted one. I hang art that makes me happy. I paint the bedroom walls a soft gray blue that my mother would hate. It feels like coming home to myself. Work improves too. Without the constant financial stress and family drama, I have energy for my career again. I take on a high-profile project redesigning the public spaces for a new mixed-use development. My boss notices. 6 months after the settlement, I'm promoted to senior project coordinator with a significant raise. I start dating again, too, though I'm cautious. Marissa and I went out a few times after the case settled, but we both agreed that mixing business and pleasure had been complicated. We're better as friends, but there are other women, other possibilities. I'm learning to trust again, slowly. The hardest part isn't the money or the career or even the dating. The hardest part is the silence from my family. My father sends me an email 4 months after the settlement. It's short. Rebecca, I understand if you never want to speak to me again. I understand that I destroyed our relationship through my own weakness and greed. But I want you to know that I think about you every day. I'm proud of what you've built for yourself. I'm sorry I couldn't be the father you deserved. Love, Dad. I read it 17 times. I draft responses. I delete them all. Finally, I send back 3 words. I know. Goodbye. It's not forgiveness. It's not reconciliation. It's just acknowledgement. He knows what he did. I know what he did. That's enough. My mother never reaches out. I see from Facebook, before I block her, that she and my father have downsized to a small rental in Beaverton. Kyle and Amanda did get divorced. He's moved to California, apparently, chasing another get-rich-quick scheme. My mother posts passive-aggressive memes about ungrateful children and family betrayal. I don't respond. I don't engage. I just let go. A year after the settlement, I'm sitting on my teal velvet couch in my own condo, drinking coffee I brewed in my own kitchen, looking out at my view of Mount Hood. I'm 30 years old. I have money in savings. I have a career I'm proud of. I have friends who actually care about me. I have a life that's entirely mine. My phone buzzes. It's a text from Marissa. Dinner this week? Want to hear about my latest case? Woman whose in-laws tried to steal her dead husband's life insurance. It's insane. I text back. Absolutely. Thursday? Perfect. Also, you should come to my firm's holiday party next month. There's a woman I want you to meet. She's a landscape architect. Gorgeous, brilliant, single, loves revenge stories. I laugh out loud, the sound filling my small, perfect space. You're matchmaking? I'm networking. There's a difference. Sure there is. I'm still smiling when I set my phone down. I think about the woman I was a year ago, sitting in a cooling bathtub, reading that devastating text message. I think about how broken I felt, how betrayed, how lost. I think about the woman I am now, the woman who fought back, the woman who documented everything, the woman who hired a lawyer and stood up in court and refused to back down, the woman who chose herself, finally, after 29 years of choosing everyone else. I'm not that broken woman anymore. I'm not that doormat daughter. I'm not anyone's safety net or ATM or backup plan. I'm just Rebecca Chen, owner of a small but perfect condo in Northeast Portland, senior project coordinator, friend, daughter of no one who matters, future girlfriend of a gorgeous landscape architect if Marissa's instincts are right. I'm just myself, finally, and that's more than enough. There's a knock on my door. I'm not expecting anyone, so I check the peephole cautiously. It's my neighbor, Mrs. Yamada, holding a covered dish. I open the door. Mrs. Yamada, hi. Rebecca, dear, I made too much curry. Would you like some? She peers past me into my condo, smiling. Your place looks wonderful. So much color, so much life. It suits you. Thank you, I say, taking the dish. It smells incredible. Would you like to come in? I just made coffee. I'd love to. We sit on my teal couch, drinking coffee, eating curry, talking about nothing important. Mrs. Yamada tells me about her grandchildren. I tell her about my project at work. It's simple. It's easy. It's the kind of relationship I never had time for when I was drowning in my family's problems. After she leaves, I clean up our dishes, and I think about how strange it is that the worst thing that ever happened to me, my family's betrayal, led to the best thing. This life, this freedom, this peace. I'm not grateful for what they did. I'll never be grateful for that. But I'm grateful for what I did in response. I'm grateful I fought back. I'm grateful I documented everything. I'm grateful I had Marissa and Amanda and even Mrs. Yamada, all these people who saw me as a person worth defending. I open my laptop and I start writing. Not for anyone else, just for me. I write the whole story from beginning to end. The phone call, the injunction, the mediation, the settlement. I write about how it felt to be used and how it felt to fight back. I write about the moment I signed those papers and took my life back. When I'm done, it's 60 pages long. I save it in a folder labeled Proof. Proof that it happened. Proof that I survived. Proof that I won. Then I close the laptop and I go out onto my balcony. It's a clear February evening, rare for Portland. The sun is setting behind Mount Hood, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. The air is cold and clean and full of possibility. I stand there, breathing it in, and I think about all the years I spent holding my breath, waiting for permission to live my own life, waiting for my family to give me what they'd promised, waiting for someday. Someday came, and it didn't look like I expected. It wasn't reconciliation or understanding or family healing. It was lawyers and court documents and settlement agreements. But it was also freedom. And that's worth more than any amount of money, any house, any relationship with people who only valued me for what I could give them. I'm 30 years old and I'm just beginning. This is Revenge Stories, a home for quiet courage and true endings. If you feel my words, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Help us build this community so we can bring more interesting and exciting stories for you from around the world. Your help is much appreciated. Your voice matters here. Your story matters too. The sun dips below the horizon, the sky darkens, the city lights come on, twinkling in the dusk, and I stand on my balcony in my own home, watching my own view, living my own life. I think about sending my father another email, something longer, something that explains how I feel. But then I realize I don't need to. I don't need his understanding or his approval. I don't need anything from him anymore. I had a family that betrayed me. I fought back. I won. And now I'm building something better. Something that's actually mine. Something nobody can take away. That's not the ending I wanted when this started. But it's the ending I got. And you know what? It's enough. It's more than enough. It's everything. I go back inside, close the balcony door, and turn on the lights in my small, perfect home. Tomorrow, I have that high-profile meeting at work. Next week, I have drinks with Marissa and her landscape architect friend. Next month, I'm flying to Vancouver for a weekend, just because I can, just because I want to, just because my time and money are finally mine to spend. The old Rebecca would have felt guilty about all of it. She would have wondered if she should be sending money to her parents, checking on them, trying to rebuild the relationship. The new Rebecca knows better. The new Rebecca knows that some bridges are supposed to burn, that some doors are supposed to close, that sometimes the only way to save yourself is to let go of the people who are drowning you. I make myself dinner in my own kitchen. I eat it on my own couch while watching my own TV. I go to bed in my own bedroom, in my own bed, in my own home. And for the first time in 7 years, I sleep through the night without waking up anxious, without checking my phone for emergency texts, without wondering what crisis I'll have to solve tomorrow. I sleep like someone who's finally, completely, utterly free, because I am.